Now I am going to show you how Web API will get data from SQL Server and give it to the web browser. Okay, so there are two methods. Okay, either we can use AdoNet to get data from SQL Server or insert data into SQL Server, and the other way is we can use entity framework to get data or insert data to the SQL Server table. So now I am going to create a web API application in .NET. So for this I am going to create a new ASP.NET web application. Then next, so I can give the name like get SQL data. Okay, everything is okay. Then create web API. Okay, so everything is corrected. MEC and web API. Then create. Now the solution is created. We will go to view solution explorer. So then we will create first controller. So we are starting from the controller. So basically in web API you are going to create controller. Okay, only controllers, and that controller you can access from the URL. So here when you are creating a web application or web API project in .NET, by default home controller and value controller are created. Suppose you do not need this, then you can remove. So I am going to remove this home controller. Then values controller is there, so I don't need a values controller. Okay, for now don't delete this. I will just edit here. So I will rename the value controller to student controller. Student controller. Okay, so I will click outside here. So it is saying want to rename. Yes, so it is now student controller. Okay, so for now I will go to get some value from SQL Server. So for now I am removing all the verbs, all the methods, web API methods. Only get method is there, and I am going to get data from the SQL Server of the student table. So I name it as student controller, and it become class student controller, and it is inheriting API controller. In MVC it was inheriting only controller, but here it is API controller because it is a web API, not a normal MVC application. So let's see what we are going to do. So in this return, I'm just commenting this because I have to get value from SQL Server here. Get value from SQL Server, and the code will be written here. And we are going to use do.net. Okay. So I will return, suppose by default I am returning return object. So any object will return, and that's why I will make it as object. Okay, so we will change its later after getting the data. So later it is like this. So public get. Okay, so here I will retrieve the data. So for that I am going to SQL Server. SQL Server Management Studio. See here we have already a database, a student DB, and one table is student master, and this is the value in the student master table. We are going to retrieve this using web API and show it in the browser in a JSON file or JSON string. Okay, so for this we have to first take the connection string. Go to .NET. As we are using ADO.NET, so I will use two namespace using system.data, then using system.data.sql server, SQL client. Okay, this much we need now. Then SQL connection cn equal to new SQL connection. Then I will give here the connection string. Let's see what is the connection string. Now I am putting the connection string. So data, this is the server name. We'll see is the server name. Database name student DB. Database student DB. So that much okay, because I am not using any username password. So integrated security is equal to SSPI. Okay, so we have a connection string. Then cn.open, that connection dot open. Okay, then I will use SQL command cmd equal to new SQL command, select asterisk from student master. Okay, using cn. Okay, then SQL data reader. We are using just now I am using data reader. Okay, then I will use data adapter. Dr equal to cmd dot execute reader. Now data reader will read. Then I will write while dr dot read, as long as dr reading, we will get data from there. So what I will do, I will create a student array of student and I will add to the array. Okay, so you see here, this is the student master table with role name and course. So what I will do, I will create a student class here, student class. Okay, so I will write here public class student. Okay, role int role get set. Then I will go and copy paste the student. What is that? Student name course. So string name, this will be role and this will be string course. So we have defined one student class, and that student class will act like a container of student data. So here actually we will send list of students. So here I will write here list student. Okay, object is students. Object name, suppose I will give it as students equal to new list of students. Here I will add one by one. So while dr is reading, I am creating a student object. Student std, or I can write the small underscore student equal to new student. Okay, so while dr dot read means in every row, here is a row, here is 3 rows, so her row it will iterate, and I am writing the code here. So it will be loop 3 times. So every time we are going creating a student object and filling value to that and putting it in the list. So I will write here underscore student dot role. So dot role should come because I have not written here public. So I will write public here, also public. Okay. So now you will see, if you will give dot, then it is coming. Role equal to, see this dr is reading, so dr role. Okay, dot to string, what it is, a integer. Okay, so I will write like this, int dot parse dr student this. Similarly underscore student dot name equal to this is not in dot parse because directly I can take, this will be name. Okay, dr name. Okay, as it is going through this, see why I am giving dr role name, because it should match role name and course. It should match the column name with case sensitivity. Case sensitivity is also there. So actually this role name corresponding to this name, this column names, not this one. Here I can write anything. This role name belongs to table role name, means SQL Server table role name, and this belongs to this one. Suppose I will make it smaller, so I have to make it small. Okay, so I will make it small, I will make it small, then it will be small, then we underscore student dot equal to this will be course. Okay, so now we create one bucket to capture the student value while it is reading, and we fill the bucket using these three lines. The student object we fill, then we will add the student object to this list, and then we will return this list back. So we will add this, so students to student we will add. So student dot add, what we are going to add, underscore student. Okay, so in each iteration it will have a value. So after adding this, after this loop is finished, we will return student collection. So what I will do, we will return students dot to list. Okay, and it is object, so even as it is object, so we can also give same data type, but let's see, object will mean everything. It may be any type, so that we can send object back. Okay, but after this example I will make it same type. Whatever we are returning, the type should be same. But if it is object, it can take any type. But we will make it same type. What we are returning, it should be same return. The get will should be same return type. See here, if you are going to to list, taking the mouse tip to list, the data type is enumerable student. Okay, student data type is enumerable student, means it is a collection of students. So I change it from object. So previously it was object. So I change it to enumerable student. Okay. Now I am going to run this application. So if you will run this, so I will give student controller. Okay, my controller name is student, so API/student. So I will give here API/student. That time it was value controller, so it is written value, but now I changed value to student. So see here, API/student. Okay, then enter. See, it is returning the table value MCA Srikanth 108. Okay, if you will compare with this table, see MCA Srikanth 102. So it is showing like this. So it is in XML format. Okay, so this table is represented in XML format. So state representation, but we need it as a JSON format. So for that I have to write one thing. Let's see what is that. See, in the previous example we have seen that to make it a JSON format, whatever we are getting from the SQL server, we have to give this line. We have to add this line: global configuration dot formatter XML formatter dot support media type clear. So this line I have to copy it, then I will put application start of that application. Okay, so here is the application who is getting data from SQL server, and I will go to the global.asx file, and I will write the line here. Okay, that line is written here. So I will get JSON data instead of XML data. So run it now. So I will give here API/student. So it is giving data in JSON format. See here, roll 102 Srikanth MCA. Just mark here roll 102 name Srikanth course MCA. Then Soumya MSc, Sriram MBA. See, roll 103 name Soumya course MSc. This is for Sriram MBA. So actually this square bracket means array of object, 3 object. So this is a JSON object. If something is in between curly bracket, 2 curly bracket, then it is a JSON object. Okay, this curly bracket to this curly bracket, including this curly bracket, this is a object. If we are getting a square bracket, then there are one or many object inside the 2 square bracket. So it will be a JSON array if we will get 2 square bracket. If 2 curly bracket, then it is a single JSON object. Okay, we get the JSON object now, and this object we can call in Angular and show this to the HTML. Okay, so let's stop it. So another thing is, so we are just giving example of getting data from a SQL server table using AdoNet. Same thing can be done using entity framework also. Okay, the method is different, so I will tell you. Okay, so I got this value now, this JSON data from the SQL server table. Okay, this is using ASP.NET Web API, and this is the URL of the web API. Okay, now I will show you by debugging the application how this data is retrieved from the SQL server and then binding to the list of students. Let's run this. Now I am writing here API, I am adding API slash student, whatever written here. API slash values previously, now it is student. So I am entering here. So I am in the connection string. Now I am going to show you how this web API is retrieving data from the SQL server and binding it to a list of students and then sending it back to the web browser. So let's see it. I am going to run it. So after running, I am giving here API slash student because it is mentioned here. Okay. So enter. So it is hitting the connection, this line. Okay. So we see here, it is going to this line and then connection is open now. This is the command getting all value from the student master, then execute reader, then this is a empty list. Okay, student. Okay, it is saying that this is a student with count 0, means it is a list of student with count 0, means there is no value in the list. So when I will read, then it will be there. So I am reading first iteration. First iteration means this line, first line. So you see here 102 name and then course MCA. So still now it is count 0. Suppose I will go again one step. I added already, so it will be count is equal to 1. This is added here. Similarly, next iteration, count is equal to 2. Okay. Next iteration, it is done. Then it is returning the list of students with count 3. So what is returning? IEnumerable. Okay, to list is IEnumerable. F10, 10. So it is returning. See, returning this value. So this is the concept. In the next video, I will show you how this value can be shown in HTML page by using Angular.